The Pulse of Spokane is a broad show that showcases many different things in our community, sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.
Well, welcome into the Pulse of Spokane as we are here in the last week of July. This is where every time I come into this chair, we are at the end of the month as time has rapidly passed us by throughout this pandemic. And today we're going to get a little bit of a conversation about what's going on in the world of e-commerce. But before we get to that, we're going to run these ads. We'll be right back.
What's it mean to be free? To go to work, to go to school, or even go to the park?
In historic proportions, we've had our freedom jeopardized.
Was it all necessary for so long?
As a business owner, I know what it's like to work with all different people with all different backgrounds.
I promise to work hard to find common ground. This is a time that we need a leader that's willing to serve the people rather than to be served.
I'm Joshua Freed, and I'm running for governor.
I'm Representative Jenny Graham. The infamous Green River serial killer altered my life forever after my sister Debbie was murdered. As I became an advocate for victims and communities, I learned that you have to work hard to get anything done. I strive to be one of the state's hardest working legislators, fighting for schools, families, and small businesses against taxes that destroy jobs. I'm honored to represent you, and I'd appreciate your vote once again.
Paid for by the committee to elect Jenny Graham, Republican.
We as citizens need to set Spokane County up for success by voting in the primary. You can visit republicansofspokane.com for endorsements and recommendations.
Paid for by RSC One PAC.
I'm Mike Conrad, running for state representative for the 4th Legislative District, and I'm committed to bringing new energy, a new direction, a new name, and more importantly, a new representative who's willing to go and trim the fat.
Paid for by Mike Conrad for state representative, Republican.
Well, welcome back in. Thanks for sticking around. And today I am joined by Kunal Chopra at Etailz. First of all, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the business and who you guys are and what you do, I just want to ask on a personal note, how has this year, 2020, and mainly the last few months been for you? Are you keeping sane?
I have tried my best. You know, e-commerce is the space that we operate in, and it's been a ride, to say the least. But I've been from working from home, from dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement, to dealing with COVID, to the surge in e-commerce, to just the environment with the economy. I think there's been a lot going on.
To say the least. Yeah, it's been an incredibly polarizing year, convoluted with a lot of different things like you just mentioned. So on the e-commerce front, tell me a little bit about Etailz, who you are, what you do.
Of course. So Etailz is a company based in Spokane Valley, and we provide a complete platform of software and services to help brands build their businesses on marketplaces such as Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Target, etc. So our mission is really to be a brand's ultimate online growth partner and to help you build your business online. We typically work with businesses in 3 different models. One is retail, where we act as a wholesaler and we buy inventory from you and then sell it on these different marketplaces. But we also serve as an agency towards you, so we can serve as an extension of your brand and help you build your e-commerce online as an agency. But then because we're a tech company, we've built everything from scratch using our own proprietary technology. We've been selling our software to different brands who want to take their operation in-house. So we're a software business, we're an agency business, and a retailer.
Okay, so touch a little bit about the importance of e-commerce in the year 2020 and some of the ripple effects that it might have on smaller businesses.
So let's put it this way. 10 years of e-commerce has come now. What we were expecting 10 years later is now happening in the world of e-commerce. There's been a surge that we have seen in e-commerce at some level thanks to the COVID situation. You know, people working from home, stay-at-home orders. People were forced into the whole e-commerce game thanks to this situation.
Yeah.
And so there was a new consumer that at some level was created for e-commerce. People who didn't see a package at their house ever suddenly saw a package arrive at their house 2 days later from folks like Amazon. So there's been this surge in e-commerce that we have seen. And with everything happening on the brick and mortar side, everything closing there, stay-at-home orders in place, that surge is now expected to continue. So we are predicting that this year will be probably one of the highest years of growth in the e-commerce space, and the total distribution that e-commerce takes out of the total retail market is going to be one of the largest. So it's a big year for e-commerce. Everyone should get their e-commerce games up. If you weren't thinking about e-commerce, this is your time that you should put a strategy in place, because our firm belief is that it's going to stay.
So are there strategies or executions that, because of the pandemic and just this massive influx of orders, that you guys have had to change, or were you guys pretty well prepared to deal with something like this?
No, we were not. At some level, one day we came.
How could anybody be, right?
Right. One day we came into the office and we suddenly saw a surge of demand on our platform. And so we had to start preparing for it. So we had to work with all our partners, all our different brands out there, and understand what their constraints are on their side, if they were able to give us more inventory for us to be able to buy or stock up on. So there was issues on the supply chain side, on the other side of the equation, that has been more of the challenge. On the front end, it's been good because we've seen this surge of demand that we really weren't expecting going in this year. So I think the challenges have been on the other side.
So has that leveled out now, or are you still seeing that as a problem now that we're 4-ish, almost 5 months into it?
So we've caught up to it now.
Okay.
So we've been able to manage the overall equation pretty well. We've understood what this new demand is going to be. We've worked with our different partners out there. And when I say partners, I mean our customers and our different brands. We worked with our different brands out there and figured out, how do we get them to ship on time? How do we stock up on inventory appropriately? And we don't run on into this out of stock situation and keep up with the demand that's coming in. So we've been able to catch up, but it's still, to say the least, it's still difficult out there because there are issues with China shipping, some of these products in here. There are issues with just warehouses within the United States going through some stay-at-home orders, so they are not able to operate fully. So there's some issues on the back end still, but by and large, it's leveling out now.
Okay. So some of your clients, the people that you work with to help their product get sold on Amazon and entities like that, I imagine that the approach varies from product to product. Is that correct to assume that, in terms of, maybe some products are a little bit more difficult to sell or present their own set of, maybe not challenges, but you approach them differently versus like you would if you guys were selling dog food or something like that. Is that the case? And if so, touch a little bit on what different products present, challenge-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. So every brand is different. Every portfolio that the brand has is going to be different of the products that they have. And, every condition in the market is going to be different. So, now with COVID, essential categories have been taken off in a big way. Health has been big, pet products has been big, grocery items has been big. So those are big focus areas for us because that's what the need of the hour is. At the same time, apparel has been on the down, right? And so the strategy for apparel for the rest of the year is going to be very different from the strategy for some of these essential categories.
Okay.
And so it also depends on the maturity of the brand. So some brands, for example, we work with are already selling on these different marketplaces. So when we come in, we're all about taking them to that next level. How do we take them from where they are to that next level of growth? Then some brands have never had a marketplace strategy. So they're first to market brands in our opinion. Those are some of the small businesses that you talked about who have never sold online, who have never had a website before, have pretty typically used to this brick and mortar experience. So that's a different use case completely. And then we figured out a strategy from scratch. So it really just varies based on the category, but also where the brand is in its maturity.
Yeah, so you guys really have to, be versatile with, bringing in all these different brands and knowing the different, challenges that they might face. I was wondering, you have had a pretty impressive career, or at least on paper so far. Yeah, you cringe at that, but it really, to an outside observer, it looks like that's been the case. Working with some of the Goliaths like Groupon and Amazon and Microsoft, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about some of those experiences and perhaps how those have set you up to or for where you are now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I started off as a computer engineer. I went to Clemson University, got my master's in computer science there, then came to Washington, to Seattle, to go to Microsoft, and I started off my career as an engineer. And so I've been deep in the technology space. That's been my background. And then transitioned more into business. Got an MBA from the University of Chicago, was a director of product at Groupon, was a general manager at Amazon, general manager at Microsoft, was a CEO of a startup as well, have invested in a couple of startups myself as well. So by and large, these have been different business experiences within the tech space. And I think if you put that all together, right from the technology background, the retail background with Groupon, Amazon, the tech experience with Microsoft, just putting that all together, I think made it a good fit to go to Etailz because we're at the intersection of both tech and retail.
Right. What, if I may ask, sparked that transition or that turn from engineering to the business end of things?
Yeah, that's a good question because when I was going through my engineering, I shipped a number of different products out there. I was in a silo at that point of time, and I really was very interested in how does my work tie back to business problems? How do we think about the code that I'm writing, and how does that link back to the value proposition to the user, competitive intelligence in the market? How does that relate to the revenue growth of a company? How does it relate to margin? And I was really thinking about those aspects or curious about those aspects. And so I wanted to make that shift into business just out of curiosity. And that led me to get an MBA from the University of Chicago.
Okay, well, curiosity did not kill the cat in that case. What does the future look like? Obviously, you guys, like you mentioned, are still going to be dealing with the ramifications of the pandemic and where everybody is at, which is primarily in their homes. Are you guys looking past this and what you guys might need to do after the pandemic, hopefully, ends? Or are you guys pretty occupied with just staying in this space that you are right now?
So we'll expand globally. That's a big focus for us.
Okay.
We want to bring a lot more international brands to the United States. We also want to take a lot of our US brands and sell them internationally. So that's going to be a big focus of ours. We're also going to take the Etailz model that we have and replicate it to a global audience.
Okay.
And that we believe that's another big opportunity for us. We want to expand our portfolio of software and services. So we, like I said, we are a retailer, we're an agency, we're also a software provider. But we want to become the one-stop shop for everything e-commerce growth. Whether you're a small business, you're a really large brand, whether you want to take your operation in-house, whoever you are, wherever you are in your life cycle when it comes to e-commerce growth, our vision is to be that one-stop shop for you. So this year is going to be that year of transition into hyper-growth thanks to this situation with e-commerce kicking off. And I think next year is going to be a year where we really scale big.
Okay, well, looking forward to that. Where can people find you guys?
So we are at etailz.com. So that's the easiest way, etailz.com. That's the best way to just find us. And, just contact us there and we'll be ready to help any brand, any business sell online.
Plain and simple. Yeah, we like it like that. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it. And best of luck for the rest of the year and then beyond that moving forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of The Pulse, and we shall see you next time.
Well, this is Looms Day in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Blooms Day.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate, but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Blooms Day wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risk associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
The economy is getting stronger, banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.